review and talk about slope. So a couple of things about slope. First off, we have positive slopes. When we're looking at a graph, we see positive slopes increase from left to right. This is our positive slope. We have negative slopes. Negative slopes on a graph decrease from left to right. We have zero slopes. Zero slopes are just horizontal lines. And then finally, we also have undefined, or sometimes you might hear these called as no slopes. So no slopes are vertical lines. All right, so those are your four main slopes. Slopes vary in steepness as well. So a positive slope could be narrow, but it also could be quite steep. Um, the formula for slope is something that you guys have used in the past, but the formula for slope, we say m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And in terms of what like y2 and y1 and x2 and x1 are, kind of doesn't entirely matter. But as soon as you pick one as the x and y1, you have to stick with it. Now, other times we could take a look at slope. Sometimes people might say delta y over delta x, which again, that's just the change in y over the change in x. So it's the same thing as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just kind of know those are the same thing. Now, there's a couple strategies to finding slope. One is you can use a graph to help you out here. When we're looking at a graph, one of the things that you're going to focus on is the idea of rise over run. And what that means is we first start with the change in y, the rising or lowering of a graph, and then the running, the horizontal distance, right? The vertical, the horizontal left and right. So if I wanted to calculate the slope of this graph using rise over run, or just using this graphically, what I'll do is I'll build like a little triangle here, and I'll count the number of boxes up. So I have 1, 2, 3 boxes up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to run 4 boxes over. So the slope of this graph, since it is positive, the slope of this graph here would be m equals 3 over 4, right? Slope of 3 over 4. Now, kind of using the formula, which honestly, this is a little bit more of what you guys might do, but you can always use that graph if you prefer it. But the way we use the formula is we decide which one's going to be x1, y1. So I'm going to call the first one x1, y1. Second one will be my x2, y2. And then we're going to substitute it right into the formula. So I'm going to say y2, or negative 2 minus 3, y1 over 7 minus 5, right? And we just do that math. So negative 2 minus 3, I get negative 5. 7 minus 5, I get 2. So my slope would be negative 5 over 2. Give it a little practice. Make sure you guys feel comfortable with it. We'll move on to midpoint next.